When storage come on first, guys.
Good afternoon everyone and welcome to Broadmeadow Park for our under-20 class. Our final game for the season. For Broadmeadow Magic we have number 1 Bride McKenzie, number 2 Jaden Barber, number 3 Riley Houlihan, number 4 Luke Cullen, number 5 Jamie Icefield, number 6 Charlie Cox, number 7 number 8, Ty Cousins, number 9, number 10, James Stewart, Sam Webb, 12, Jeremy Wilson, 13, Stuart Paulson, 14, Natemsky, 15, Corey Edwards, for the Magpies, we have number 20, Luke Jennings, number 2, James Zerning, number 4, Josh Williams, 5, Adam Duggan, 6, Lachlan Yates, 11, James Castle, 8, Lachlan Webb, 16, Mark Townsend, 15, Isaac Hughes, 10, Blake Ruxford, 9, Tom Duggan, 7, James Bash, 12, Zach 14, Mike Foster, and 26, Oliver Mapper. Our under-20 coached by Gavin playing out for the night. Ladies and gentlemen. Play and talk to play. Best of luck.
Contact ball.
Come in, Sammy, come on.
Move you higher.
Go on. Go past this, silly. Go with pace. Go with pace. Go on.
Rusty Carson.
Hey! down.
Any jackets there?
Come on, Toys! Come be better! Chauncey! Oh, I'm losing. Hey!
Going!
Come on,
Charlie! Charlie for Luke and Cal!
Joey, come back and contact! Come back forward! Come back forward!
And again. Go on, Charles, go on. Come on, you got it. No foul.
Yep.
Come on, Webb. Here he is. Rename.
Hey!
Come on.
Pass him!
Seconds, Charles.
Come on, Chauncey, come on! Johnny!
What?
Go on! Hey! Set it up!
Davey.
Set it up! Go! Wait!
Ty. High, keep walking him, walk him.
Up higher! Bob!
Higher for the second bub. Take it up, Davey. Little bit narrower, Bob. For the second, edge of the box. Davey. Good run, Webby. Well done, mate.
Recover, Sammy, recover. Come back. Come on, don't be lazy. Sammy, you can't be in the same line. Lukey! Lukey! Luke! Stay there! Tuck in a bit, Davey! You know what, Johnson can't be in the same line as the top two. Tuck in a bit, Davey!
Come out.
Go, Johnson! Go, Webby! Come on, buddy.
Webby! 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 Charlie! Charlie, get on the set pieces. You get on the set pieces.
You take the set pieces. Bubs, beware.
Get in, Adam, get in. Get in, Adam. Relax, relax.
Come on, Stewie. Tyso, recover. Yeah, just recover. Throw the ball. Bob, talk to him!
Get up, Stewie!
Bob, talk to him!
Go, Webby, go, Webby!
Webby, come on.
Change it, Charlie. Second, Stewie, go, yes.
Do it, Mark.
Yeah, come. Unlucky.
Watch up, good effort,
Come
good
on,
effort.
Narrow. Stu, watch the grab there. Come on, Tyso. Come on, Ty.
Good toss there, corner.
Louis, remember what I said about showing up to that stage? Really close to the
Organise early, you two. Stu and Tyso, organise early. There it is. Johnson, there it is. Lucy, organise that.
Keep up! Keep up! Good! Come on! Come on!
Step up, Stewie! Step up! Stewie! Step up! Johnny, there's no point being there when you're not going to get the phone. Change the point!
What's happening? Go!
But you're not hitting on there, mate. You want to be there. Oh, just off the knee. Get high here. There we are. Hey, Frank. Really?
Rolly! Run straight.
Come on. Oh.
Mom's going to recover.
Nice. Walk on the floor. Walk on the floor. Yeah, in cross. Close to the wow. That's better for the bar. Change it. Change it. Forward, forward here. Charlie, it's tight, you need movement. Get it. Bring it down, bring it down. Come on, Step up! Go on! Go, West! with him. Get across to him. Deliver, mate. Over the ball.
Corner! One second, Charlie! Riley! Wait, keeper!
Sammy.
Hit the other one, Webby.
Get up higher. Get higher.
Drop, Charlie.
Hey!
Get behind the ball! Set up!
10 yards, ref.
Louis!
Charlie, option. Give it to him. Charlie. Strong.
Good, Riley.
Come on. Organise early.
John, come on!
First one, mate. Warming up the boat.
Closer together. Tyso, Stewie.
Webby!
Oh, what's up, mate? Tyso, Stewie, get closer together. Lock on!
Charlie.
Change it! Early! Finish! Get on that back stick!
Webby! Web!
Come on, mate.
Tommy, stay out. Come on!
Stand again.
Get out, come on! Riley!
Jump with him, mate.
Who's up, Brad? Easy.
Come on, boys. Be aggressive. Simple, simple. Just simple, play it.
Get it back, John.
Tyso, don't run into his face, mate. Recover now! Come on, go, Toys! Go, Toys! Go, Toys! Go! Compete! Simple, Stewie, simple! Simple! Side foot! Up, Stewie, then recover, come on!
Goal of the Magpies, number 9, scoring there. Now 26, Magpies nil.
Hey, go! Well done, Tommy, we'll have that up there.
Come on, Sammy, tuck in.
Jamie, narrow.
Change it, Ty. Better. Yeah. There, that's what we're at. Well done, Bob. In. Oh. Exactly, mate. Sammy, you don't have to tell me that, mate. Charlie, get the ball!
Really hoping they win.
There!
That's genuinely up to you.
Hey, get your head in there, please. Hey, that's the line. Want to do that celebration play, Jake?
don't want to watch. Hey, Lassie. It's little Ronnie.
You know you're watching under 20.
Don't see me, Lassie.
Lazy. Whereabouts are you? Yeah. Movie vacation. Casey King. Show us where you are. Show us where you are.
Mobile phone makes you look.
It's too fast, Sonia. It's too fast. When it comes to solo, now what? It's not 1-2. What's the weather like? Have a look where we are, mate. Look. You can see it on the TV. Hey.
got half time in our under 26 here. Current scoreline being the Magpies in front of 2 goals. The earlier Quaker 18 Dorset scored a 2-0 win. Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that we can only have officials on the playing surface, so if you're not a player or official, please have to look out on the field of play. As our under 20s return to the field, best of luck for the second half. First, due to kick off at 6 p.m. this evening. And nice, so best of luck for the second half. And just remember the code of conduct. It is a requirement of entry into Cook Square. We are happy for you to support your side. Please do this with the best security.
You don't talk to him, yeah? I'll give you 5 minutes.
Just a couple of bits of housekeeping, ladies and gents. We are a non-smoking business. Please refrain from smoking within the confines of the suite. And also, as a condition of entry, you are not permitted to bring CYO alcohol. All alcohol purchased from our canteen or at Southern Field. So we've got Davo down there near the party trailer hire. Always man. Feel free to make your way down there. I'll grab the phone up.
I'll bring you up the farm.
Water, Johnson, water. Pass to John. Johnson.
you're with present, right?
Forward, forward!
Right forward.
Well, I don't know. I know he's got 4 tickets, so I don't know who they're for. I know. Good enough, John. Come on, mate. I know.
Come on, Luke, you get him off! You get him off!
Don't worry. Or Tommy. Nothing. What are you doing? Make sure you go watch your son.
Who charged it with the ball ref?
Channel.
Early!
No worries, Tommy.
Get him.
Okay.
Get him back. Put it on the deck and play it. Play it, Tommy. Throw it. Drive. Tommy, run.
Come on, Charles, come on, time!
Yes, Charlie, jump.
Riley! Jezza!
There you go, look. Higher. You need to be higher, Tom. Ready? Come on. Commit forward! Charlie, one of these, got me forward! Step up higher, Jezza, higher! One of you squeeze in front! Be wary! Forward!
Hurry up, Duggan. Up him, Duggan. Get in the ball.
Looking at one of our Maitland Magpie
Last 80 minutes. Good stuff, Chauncey.
How's it going? I'm coming from bearing gifts. I was just doing the rugby league and I've got the headsets.
Oh, awesome.
I just grabbed them off the hall then, so
Nice.
I'll let you finish from that game and then they're just in there.
Righto. So who else is coming in?
Just myself and Payne Smith. Yeah, just
Okay. Yep.
We didn't see it. Got to keep up with the play, Maitland.
Future rolling. Charlie, check off. Over here, water. Here, water, Jen. One-on-one. Drop it. Change it, Wiley. Early, Jezza. Drive it, Sammy.
Are you here? What's that again? Oh, okay. No, where are you driving in? Oh, no worries. Alright, awesome. No, I was just giving you a buzz to see where you were. Magic! 2-0 with probably that. I'm going to go over and get him now. Yep. Well, I feel he's
Murray.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's not out now.
Simple.
Who wins the on move? It's time. Okay, so he needs 3. He needs 2 goals to win it. 3 to win it out. Yep, okay.
Where is it for it?
Yeah. Alright, I'll go get it.
Go up you go, Bob. There's a higher. Higher. Done it higher, baby. Oh, come on!
That's kicking the ball out.
Oh, shuffle over. Gotta get Charlie in the ball.
Give him a card. Hey, forward, baby! Hey, nice, baby! Finally!
You're wasting your time sitting here, doing all the work for Magic. Then you have to make a difference. Yeah, let's make a difference. Then like from the referee, oh mate, you with one of the every match. I'm telling you, you won't lose me. Not because the referee's cheap.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our under 26. The Magpies coming away victors there. 2 goals to Broadmeadow. No big deal. Congratulations to both sides there. Congratulations to our Magpies taking away the minus 3 there. We'll have our senior 60 kicking off at 6 p.m. this evening. All of our alcohol sales are up here at the southern end of the field. We've got them over where our Maitland Toyota Marquis normally is, and we did today to have that up. We've also got alcohol sales at the canteen. Just remember that we are a responsible service of alcohol. We would respect you to be a responsible consumer also. On behalf of the Magpies, we would like to wish our under-20 side and also the Magic under-20 side the best of luck in the final series. Could I also ask that we only have players and match officials out on the playing arena at the moment? On behalf of the Magpies, it is a very big welcome to Windy Hill at Cook Square this afternoon or this evening. We'll have our second fixture off shortly. Shout out to our major sponsors, being East Maitland Bowling Club and Maitland Sports Stevens Toyota. In the market for a new Toyota or a car seat conversion team down on the New England Highway. Other sponsors being the George Cabot. We're in the market to sell real estate. Reece Thompson and the team at PRD Nationwide Hunter Valley. PKF Accounting Business Advisors, iTalk Travel. Our wine sponsor is Garmin, and for sale this evening. Some of the finest boutique wine in all of Hunter Valley. Great value from our bars around
Jackson, run,
other sponsors being Canada Automotive, Pino,
Who was? I can't remember.
Golden Spring, Darren O'Brien, River Tommy, the Sign Shop, Maitland Car Support, Static Facility Supplies, Oakwood Products, Topline Garage, Shed, Biz Synergy, Hunter Recruitment, Maitland Physio, and Maitland Physio and Sports Injuries, Galloway Family Law, Maitland Mutual, Endota Spa, Little Superstars, AV Car Care, Time Right Furniture Removal, and Keys Media. Once again, ladies and gents, just remember that it is a entry requirement for Cook Square, quality code of conduct in accordance with New South Wales football, and also we are a non-smoking venue. Please refrain from smoking anywhere around the playing pitch or near any patrons, please. We ask that you do vacate Cook Square if you do intend on having a cigarette. Thank you. Canteen is full swing down here at the southern end of the field. If you're after something to eat, something cold to drink, or a tea or a coffee, please come and see the guys down here at the southern end of the field. Barbecue's sizzling away. So come and see the guys in the canteen. Thank you.
If they don't make it, they can only play the people in their last game. Six, really? Yeah. So that means that Tom was the old
Test. 1, 2, 3, 4.
For 12 years, which seemed like an eternity to Maitland fans, the Magpies sat stuck inside second division football in northern New South Wales. Year after year came and went, and still there was no progress into the top division. The holy grail for a club languishing in the second tier. For 5 out of 6 seasons, they finished second. First it was Adamstown, then it was Azuri, followed by Lakes, Charlestown, before Lambton too reached into the top tier. There was even time for Adamstown to go back down and up again. But finally in 2014, promotion was achieved and they reached the NPL. In 2015, they staved off relegation. And in 2016, they dared to dream, finishing 1 match short of a grand final. In 2018, that dream burns once again, but only victory this evening will allow that flame to flicker on for the Maitland Magpies. Tonight on Old Boys Day, Maitland meet a Magic side who have qualified for the finals and seemingly have bigger fish to fry, with Victorian heavyweights Bentley on their way this coming Tuesday. But that doesn't mean they'll be pushovers. You'd be underestimating Broadmeadow if you thought that. And here's the side that Michael Balch will aim to make their second finals appearance in 3 years with. He makes no changes from the team who won 1-0 against Lambton last Saturday. Why would you? Liam Thornton, Carl Thornton and Matt Trott all get the opportunity to play in all 20 matches this season when this one kicks off this evening. And for Broadmeadow, they've rung the changes. Only 3. There was expected to be more, but just the 3 from the side who were beaten 3-0 by Hamilton Olympic last week. Of course, players on yellow cards being Luke Virgili and Shane Paul. They're out of the side. Josh Pinnington, he's been rested as well, the skipper. While Luke Callan comes in alongside Takumi Sonata and David Ifield. Dino Fajvik, keep a lookout for him. He's full of confidence after scoring in the FFA Cup for the second match running. He scored 4 goals against Maitland in 2015. Mild conditions here in Maitland. Our referee for this evening's clash is James Cleal. Round 22 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. The wind has really dropped. Just 16 kilometres an hour from the west, so straight across the ground from the camera side. And it will be Broadmeadow Magic running from left to right of screen. 18 degrees, so very mild for a winter's night in the Hunter. So Maitland potentially 90 minutes away from another appearance in the finals. And Broadmeadow get us underway through Justin Broadley. Joining me in commentary tonight is former Broadmeadow coach Damien Smith. And Smudge, can Maitland make it past the final hurdle? They must win because you sense Hamilton Olympic are going to claim victory against Western down in inner city Newcastle tonight.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. But just quietly on the weather, hasn't the wind dropped down? It's actually quite balmy, isn't it? It's quite nice up here at Cooks Hill. The Windy Hill at Cook Square.
If we're at Cooks Hill, it'd be colder.
I've come from Cooks Hill. But anyway, yeah, it's a great opportunity for Maitland today. As you know, Magic's got a few players out due to cards and also being rested. But I think it's a great opportunity for Maitland to get the 3 points. But you know what? It's still going to be difficult. You've got Carl Bradbury fighting for that leading goal scorer award, with Sam Walker scoring a goal today against Lambton. So Bradbury needs 2 goals. So he's going to be out to score. So I think it's going to be a tight game for Maitland. But however, they're fully strength at the moment. And I think for me, Magic's just got too many key players out to probably get the end result. But anything can happen.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Carl Bradbury, 14 goals this season. He actually won the Golden Boot back in 2012 with 14 goals. That was for the Newcastle Jets. So he'll need a couple more if he's to claim it again this year. Sam Walker scoring this afternoon in Lake Macquarie's 2-1 upset win over Lambton Jaffers. And that took him to 16 goals for the season. An incredible achievement for a player in a side that is not going to be playing finals.
Yeah, he's had a tremendous year, Sam Walker, and for more reports, I haven't seen it, but he scored a tremendous goal today from about 22 yards out from a free kick to win the game for Lake Macquarie. So in that, if Maitland win today, that pushes Lambton back to 4th spot. So therefore, if Maitland do get a result today, they'll be playing Magic in the home and away series in the semi-finals. So
it'll be 3 weeks in a row that these two do battle, and they'll be back at Cook Square Park next weekend if Maitland do win. Big Groundhog Day. It's Liam Thornton, one of 3 Magpies to have played in all matches this year in the regular season as he rolls that one up the line. It's chipped infield towards Swan. A little bit of a swivel, and Ryan Clark.
Talking to Michael Bolts prior to the game, that's a good ball through, but cut out by Zach Thomas. Talking to Michael Bolts before the game, Maitland's got about 4 or 5 players on cards as well, so they need to be careful. However, he needs to go fully strength because they know they need to win today, get the 3 points to make the semis. And we'll keep you updated with the match Hamilton versus Western as well. So
Matt Thompson charging after the ball. Paul Bitts just letting it run into his gloves. He's been wonderful this year, Paul Bitts, leading goalkeeper with 9 clean sheets. Matt Trott, actually, the man he's up against, the other end of the ground, second on that list this season with 7 clean sheets.
Good to see John Griffiths having that captain's armband today.
Hasn't he been a wonderful player over the years for Broadmeadow Magic?
Very versatile as well. He's played at right fullback, centre back, in the middle of the park as well. So, and Sean Pratt's offside.
Doesn't score too many though, John Griffiths. He's in a little bit of a goal drought at the moment. Hasn't scored since round 3 last year against Valentine. Don't think he'll mind that, will he?
No. I think the way Maitland will set up here, they're playing their accustomed 4-3-1-2, sort of like a 4-4-2 formation. I think they'll be very careful getting their right and left fullback bombing forward nice and early. I'm pretty sure they'll probably want, their main aim tonight is to keep a clean sheet. And, you know, the longer the game goes 0-0, obviously they'd like to score nice and early, but the longer the game goes 0-0, the more of a chance I think they'll have opportunities at the back end of the game. So
there's Dino Fadjovic trying to find Carl Bradbury. Scored in that FFA Cup win over Canberra a few weeks ago now. Feels for handball, and there was against Swan. So decent position here for Carl Bradbury, who you'd expect to take it.
Good opportunity for Carl Bradbury here.
Yeah, Matt Hoole usually takes them from this kind of position. He's also got Cody Carroll there, but Bradbury goes low. Sits up for Matt Jarosky. Matt Trott with a brilliant save. And they've come almightily close to conceding there. If it wasn't for Matt Trott's quick reflexes, John Majorowski with the turn and swivel, he's been in wonderful form lately. Scored that double in the FFA Cup. He scored a hat-trick against the Jets in round 20. 4 goals in his last 3 NPL matches.
Yeah, he's been in great form. Great turn and shot. Great save by Matthew Trott, but Maitland's defence there, the ball just sort of dribbled through, didn't it? It sort of just caught unawares, but for more reports, Majorowski signed again for next year for Broadmeadow Magic, which is great for Broadmeadow and for John.
He's just a big game player, isn't he? Really turns it on. We've spoken about that at length this year. Yes, Carl Bradbury almost was able to latch onto the ball, but Grant Brown got that boot out. It stuck to his boot as he swiveled on the ground. All threaded through for the Magpies. They've turned it over. Matt Swan over there. He's had an injury-interrupted season, the Maitland midfielder. But when he has played, they've lost just 2 of 13. Very influential player for the Magpies. Matt Hoole chipping it forward, looking for Bradbury. And I always feel, Smudge, you can look at this match from 2 different perspectives. You've got a side with all the pressure on them against a side that has no pressure, or you can look at it from the perspective of a side that really doesn't have much to play for against a side that has a lot to play for. There's 2 narratives at play.
Yeah. So the other thing is for Magic with the loss to with Lambton losing today to Lake Macquarie, it's sort of in Magic's hands who they want to play in the semi-final series as well. Like,
what do you do as a coach in that situation? I think I find it difficult to as a player, you want to win the match.
Yes, 100%. And you want that momentum going into the final series and also going into the Bentley Green game on Tuesday night in the FFA Cup. There's no doubt Ruben want to win this game, and that's a great ball. Oh,
Ryan Clark, can he get in front of Griffiths? Paul Bitts was quick enough to clear it up the ground. The wind has really dropped. It's almost dead still here now.
Yeah, it's a great night for football. To be honest, as a coach and as a player, you want to win every game. And the thing is, the semi-final series it's home and away. It's a home and away series. You know, every game's going to be tough anyway. So, but Ruben could look at this game. You know, if we lose today, we know we're playing Maitland in the semi-final. They're going to come third, or would you rather play Lambton?
It's an interesting one. Matt Hoole got a great right boot. His last goal actually came against Maitland. Hasn't scored in a couple of years in the NPL. It was a bomb too. Steno Fajkovic.
Took a bobble, didn't it, just before he went to cross it?
Yeah, he'll probably wish he had have taken a touch.
But you threw a stat at me before, but I've got another stat for you, which I'll bet you haven't got this one. So, talking to Bolcher before the game, he said, do you know Maitland have not lost when Sean Pratt has started this year?
Yes, I have got
that.
Oh,
you have got that one?
Oh,
yep. I thought I had one on you.
And Sean Pratt, he scored 4 goals in the NPL, and when he has scored, his side has never lost.
Okay. Well, I didn't have that one.
So there you go. He's been in good form. Very good goal-scoring touch. 3 goals in the last 4 matches. And he's actually lost 10 kilos since he has arrived at Maitland midway through the season. 10 kilos since coming to the Magpies. He started the year at Hamilton Olympic. Was out of favour. Fell out of favour under Pete McGuinness. We'll see if he made the right choice based on how the results go tonight. No, I'm sure he's made the right choice.
Yeah, he's had a great year. He's scored some crucial goals at crucial times.
Would you say he's come of age to a degree? Sean Pratt last year at Hamilton scored the 1 goal. He played really well, but just that cutting edge, I feel, let him down. Yeah,
the final third sort of let him down. He had great opportunities, but sometimes he either took the extra task or tried to take an extra player on. But he's had a great year at Maitland.
It's Cody Carroll trying to throw through for Callan. Making his first start in the NPL. Came off the bench in their round 18 5-0 win against Valentine. That was actually just before the FFA Cup match. Ruben Zadkovic opting to rest a few of the players for that match against Canberra.
It's been a bit of a nervy start for Maitland. We've been going, 10 or so minutes, and for me it's been a little bit of a nervy start for Maitland. I think Magic sort of settled in probably slightly better than Maitland at the moment.
And this is the thing.
The pressure.
I would just like to know how much Maitland were just thinking too much about their opposition. I feel like there was too much focus on that during the week with, who are Magic going to play? Who are they going to rest? I know Michael Balch would have been very much trying to ensure that they focused on themselves, but sometimes it's difficult to control the minds of players when they go home and read the newspaper and check out on social media. As
Great ball
rolled in, and Maitland do well enough. It will be a corner kick. There's so many mind games at play when the season goes on the line. So. And it can be tiring before you get out on the pitch.
And the other thing with Magic, they're carefree at the moment. They look quite comfortable in the first 10 minutes or so. Starting to get into their rhythm, their patterns of play. The 2 young boys, Ifield and Callan's, coming quite well.
There's Cody Carroll. Decent. He was looking for Sonata at the back post. Not quite the length. Bradbury hits it. Almost scored from this kind of range in the FFA Cup. Well, it was debatable whether it crossed the line or not. It was not given as a goal, but it went close.
From more reports, Ruben asked a few of the players if they want to rest up a little bit before the Bentley Green game on Tuesday night, but most of the players said no, that their aim is to try and get Carl Bradbury the golden boot.
2 goals. 2 goals he needs.
Support him as much as possible.
Cody Carroll back. He went to Callan, and now Ifield just chiming in.
Maitland back four very deep here. And like I said before, the left and right fullback, they won't bomb forward too much. I think in the first half, maybe first 60 or so minutes, I'll be very cautious because I think if they go behind, it's going to be hard to come back.
It's Carl Thornton almost, well, I thought it might have been an air swing. Ryan Clark is back from injury. Hasn't scored in 3 matches in the NPL. He'll be wanting to turn that around tonight, the Maitland striker. And a happy birthday as well, Smudge, to Matt Thompson. Now, I'm not going to sing, but happy birthday to him. And it's actually, it was Paul Bitts' birthday yesterday, so it's that kind of season. Matt Thompson turning 36. Paul Bitts 31 yesterday. Bitts will gobble that one up. And what about the penalty save in the FFA Cup, Smudge? Do you remember that from Paul Bitts? One of the more entertaining moments of the season.
Yeah, that was quite bizarre, wasn't it?
I think
that's where you need the Benny Hill music.
Yep, definitely.
Great run by Andrew Swan. See Liam Thornton and their fullbacks, they're not bombing forward, they're sort of just saying. So they've sort of come a little bit defensively minded, Maitland, at the moment, but I think they just want to just work their way into the game. The key is not concede.
As we said, they can't afford a draw. That was the case in round 11 when these two sides met. That was a very cagey affair. Very cagey. It was a
depends on the other result. Scoreline. Depends on the other result as well. So at the moment, it's 0-0 after 15 or after 20 minutes at Hamilton.
Now, if you're the ground announcer here at Maitland, surely if Western score, you're announcing it. And if Hamilton score, you're probably not saying anything. You don't want to put undue pressure on the players. Here's Cal Bradbury. Swung away from goal.
He's looking very keen, Bradbury. He's looking pretty sharp, doesn't he? He's desperate for these 2 goals.
Magic.
Maybe 3.
I'll be honest, they're looking a lot more fluent at the moment. In the early stages. Matt Trott, who's conceded just 2 goals in the last 6 matches. Not just him, but the entire Maitland defensive unit. They have got a very solid defence, and Michael Balch has been very impressed with it of late. As Thompson drops it back to Thornton. Swan keeps it inside the line. Clark and Andrew Swan. It was a strong collision. Ball and foot got jammed in there.
I think it was his shoulder. He fell awkwardly on his shoulder.
It's a long throw, Matt Thompson. Plenty of energy from the Ray leg midfielder. Here's a total air swing from Broadley, it was, on Swan, who's been in the wars a bit of late.
I think Khalil, the referee, will be quite sensible today. Obviously, there's people on cards. He'll do the right thing if someone deserves a card, but he'll probably give everyone a warning unless, it's a blatant card.
One of the top referees in the NPL Northern New South Wales, James Clell, as you'd need to be reffing this kind of match. After this, Thompson towards the back post, and Maitland's defence standing tall in the form of John Griffiths there, the heart of the defence. What have we got at Hamilton Olympic? It's still 0-0, so Maitland in the finals as it stands on the live ladder.
Offside.
As we said, there's pressure on Maitland tonight, but there's pressure on Hamilton as well.
Oh, definitely. Both old boys' days for both clubs, so I know Steve Piggott will love to spoil the party at Hamilton, especially in his last game at Western. I think the players will be playing for Steve Piggott as well.
Well, he would love that. Western actually were up 1-0 against Hamilton when they played earlier in the season up at Bear Park, and Hamilton's had to score 2 late goals via Kane Treble and Jared Sutherland to make it 2-1.
They were very good last week, weren't they, against... you went there, against Broadmeadow.
They have, Smudge. They were, I should say. Just on Jared Sutherland, I've actually heard he's signed at another club, a rival club. Heard from a very good source that he's not going to be at Hamilton next year.
Okay. Oh.
Matt Hoole goes to ground just as he approaches the halfway line.
Matt Hill's had a fabulous year as well, hasn't he, Bart?
He has. He was in and out of the side at the start of last season, but really came into his own the back end of the year, and then this year has been a mainstay.
Yeah, well, last year he was playing more in the central role. Then Ruben done a great job and switched him to right fullback or like a right wing back if they're playing 5 at the back like they are tonight, and he's been tremendous.
I'd probably say the turning point for Matt Hoole in the last year and a half was that match, that round 9 match where Maitland won 7-0. He was sent off, and from that moment he's made every post a winner. And for that moment you thought, gee, that was his first start back in the side. He was sent off after about 20 minutes, and since that afternoon, he's basically been a mainstay. We've got another offside against Maitland. So not much doing here early on. The best chance fell to John Majorowski, who had the
great opportunity,
reflexes of a viper, didn't he? And Matt Trott likewise to make the save from close range.
Maitland playing very cautious here. They're not sort of, like I said before, they're not bombing their right and their fullback forward, and they're sort of just getting the ball forward nice and early. No really link-up play at the moment.
Really interesting this year. There's been a lot of draws. Both of these two sides come into this match having won just 3 of their last 8. Maitland undefeated in those 8. Magic just with the 2 defeats, so a lot of draws in there. 5 for Maitland in that period, and for Broadmeadow 3. It's been just that kind of season. It's been that tight, the competition between the top sides.
And there is a goal at Hamilton, Bart. Hamilton 1, Western 0.
So there you go. Live ladder, and Hamilton are in the finals in 4th place, which means they would play Edgeworth over 2 legs if it remains as it stands currently. Matt Hoole. Carroll. Old Boys Day tonight at Maitland. They won't want to let their fans down. Hoole whips that one across the face. Grant Brown just got his shin in the way of it. I've got a sorry tale to tell you in just a second, Smudge. It's Callan showing a clean pair of heels. Bradbury, you can't afford him this kind of space in the box. And
just talking about Old Boys, their 20s celebrated in front of the Old Boys, winning the premiership today over Broadmeadow Magic. They won 2-0 in the 20s, taking home the minor premiership.
Haven't they been inspired? Last year they finished 4th, I believe. You might have to correct me.
They finished 4th, and they beat Hamilton
in the grand final. Now, their story reminds me of the Richmond Tigers in the AFL. Richmond finished low down on the ladder. They win the grand final last year, and now Richmond are first on the AFL ladder. Same thing as Maitland's 20s. They've been inspired by that last year. They were given no chance beating Hamilton in the grand final. They did it.
And full credit to Gavin Wolfe, their coach. He's done a tremendous job.
He has, yep.
And I remember last year we'll commentate in the grand final against Hamilton, who won the comp by about 16 points, I think. And he told me the exact game plan, and he played it to a T, and I was very impressed.
You can't ask for much more than that. Yeah, I have got a sorry tale to tell you. That's what I was going to tell you, Smudge. I was just over calling the real NRL, Maitland playing against Lakes, and it was Old Boys Day for Maitland, and they got thumped 48-20.
Really? Yeah.
48-26 it was in the end, so I hope for the Magpies' sake it doesn't go likewise.
So on the table, on the real RNL, is Maitland, were they further up?
Maitland were actually, here's the strike just over the bar.
So were Maitland expected to win?
Well, there's 4 points separating the top 6 sides, so it's very even. And if Maitland had won, they would have had a shot at the minor premiership, a really good shot.
Okay,
so it slipped through their fingers, and they'll probably make the finals. But yes, their defence is nowhere near as good as this Magpies defence. Their attack's very good, defence not so. I'd say Maitland is very good in both departments. Probably more so defensively. Had that big win over Adamstown. You take that out and they probably haven't struck as much in the front third as you'd expect. 36 goals for them this year.
Oh.
Zach Thomas, an important boot in, and Michael Bolch has been thought there was a handball. It was against Bradbury. Michael Botch's been hugely complimentary about Zach Thomas and his improvement this year. He played at Western last year, Zach, and played centre-back in Steve Pickett's side. He was in and out of the side, but this year he really has found a home in that centre-back role, and it's allowed Carl Thornton to push up the pitch as he's doing now.
He was tremendous against Hamilton Olympic a few weeks ago. I think we gave him the man of the match, I think, but Maitland had quite a few players out, and they were quite defensive and under a lot of pressure, and Zach Thomas just stood tall and did a tremendous job. Just looking at Maitland here, they're playing very narrow. I think they need a bit more width. I think they're both left and right fullback. Just need to get into the game a little bit. They're just sort of sitting. So when they've got the ball, just advance a little bit forward, but a bit more, create a bit more space. Then there's an outlet pass for the midfielders.
This one gets climbed on top of there. Justin Broadley there against his old club. He was a veteran of Maitland, along with his brothers, Ryan and Chris. Made the move to Lakes last year and then Magic this year. Knock down the touchline. Trying to find Majorowski was Carl Bradbury. They have the opportunity again here, Broadmeadow. Grant Brown tracking after it. Round 22 of the NPL Northern New South Wales this evening on Bar TV Sports. The equation is simple. Hamilton must win to make the finals based on the scoreline currently at Hamilton. They lead Western 1-0. So Maitland win, they make the finals. No questions asked. Broadmeadow will finish second, Edgeworth in first. So they'll get the home advantage in the second week of the finals.
And a massive congratulations to Edgeworth. They're 8 points. They could win the comp by 11 points. And everyone wrote them off, including you, Bart, at the start of the season.
Wrote them. I said they'd finish in the top 3, Smudge. I didn't. I will say, I did say that they wouldn't win the premiership.
Yeah. I never said that. I thought they were contenders.
Yeah, but you just make it vague enough so you can't write anyone off. As here's the ball in, and it's across the line. An important goal for Maitland. And it's Ryan Clark who has prodded it over the line. And that one is worth gold to Maitland. And that puts them a step closer to the finals.
Yeah, he tussled and bustled Ryan Clark. It sort of fell down, didn't it? Sort of a bit scrappy in the 6-yard box for Broadmeadow. But, yeah, well finished by Ryan Clark. Very important goal for Maitland. They would have noticed the goal at Hamilton. Hamilton leading Western 1-0. But to be honest, it's probably against the run of play.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Would you put that down to as well a Magic backline that hasn't played together?
A little bit, probably a little bit of miscommunication. I haven't seen the replay, but it sort of just bobbled in the 6-yard box, and Ryan Clark was first to pounce on it, and yeah.
3 matches without a goal. Took that one off for Ryan Clark. He's got one, and he's their second high scorer this year. 6 goals for him behind Matt Comerford, who is now injured, but he scored 8.
And Magic, they're missing 2 of their key defenders in Luke Virgili, who's had a tremendous year, been one of my favourite players this year, and also Josh Pennington's been rock solid, and he's Broadmeadow's captain as well. So
here's Ryan Clark. Just the confidence would be booming now for him.
Great challenge by John Griff.
Here's Sean Pratt. All of a sudden, just the energy about Maitland has just gone up another couple of notches. Just incredible what a goal does. That energy that pulses through the entire team.
They'll definitely cage you that first 25 minutes until they scored, and that went against the run of play. So they'll play more of probably a defensive-minded mindset, I feel. But especially with their left and right fullbacks sort of just sitting and occupying the two strikers, or the 2 wide strikers from Broadmeadow Magic.
And they'll want another one, won't they? You can't sit on a 1-goal advantage.
Not at all. Not with the strike force Magic's got. And Carl Bradbury going for leading goal scorer as well.
We said about a month ago, Smudge, that if Maitland make the finals, they deserve to be there based on the teams they've had to play. And, gee, they've come through some really tricky tests with flying colours last week, beating Lambton Jaffers, almost knocked over Edgeworth the week before. They've shown they can match it with the best.
Yeah, I think they've got still a fair bit of work to do in this game yet.
And this is the difficult thing, is that they get the result tonight. Psychologically, do they have the advantage against Magic next week if they?
No, I don't think so. I think,
or do you write it off because
yep,
you've got lots of changes to the side. Here's a decent run from Thompson, but he blazes that one. Oh, I thought it was going to hit one of the kids in the paddock.
I know Michael Bolsh will write it off. He knows they've got some important players out Magic, and he knows they'll be focused mainly on the game on against Bentley Green on Tuesday night, and Magic will have a totally reworked side for next weekend if Maitland get through. Nice header by John Majorowski.
Broadly just prodded it wide. Carl Bradbury brings it under his control.
And again, Maitland's back four. They're quite deep. They're allowing Broadmeadow to advance on them. Great ball back stick.
He just dropped it almost to Broadley. So second against fourth tonight. Broadmeadow sitting there on the ladder. Maitland in fourth place coming into this one tonight. On the live ladder they are sitting third though. I would have jumped above Lambton. Ryan Clark runs it down. Tries to spot Sean Pratt. Is there a handball? There is.
Oh, no, it's a penalty.
And it will be a penalty. It was just inside the box. James Clear points to the spot.
That was very unfortunate.
Looks as though it was Takumi Sonata. The unlucky party.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit harsh on him.
It's
may have been the youngster, Luke Callan, it was.
Yeah, he had his arm just away from his body. That was very unfortunate, very unlucky.
Well, Sean Pratt to continue his good form from the spot. He scored one against Edgeworth a couple of weeks ago. That 1-1 draw in round 19. Looking to slot this one. He puts it into the post. It falls back for him. And James Clear is going to disallow it.
Offside.
It was offside. So Sean Pratt, his penalty kick has thumped into the post. And this is a massive psychological test now for Maitland. They were within an inch of making it 2-0 and being pretty much in the finals. And now they've got to deal with that, put that behind them, and go again. How tough is this for them?
That's very tough. Really should have converted that. In saying that, the penalty was a penalty, but they were quite fortunate to get the penalty. But you need to put those away. This game is vital. A 2-goal lead for me would probably just about wrap it up for Maitland, I think, especially with the plays Magic's got out. But now,
all of a sudden, it could turn around as quickly as that, as Bradbury was almost off and away. And now all of a sudden there's a corner for Broadmeadow. How quickly things can turn around. I must say, I'm happy for Luke Callan that he hasn't paid the price, because it was unfortunate. And this field does have some odd bounces.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's a bit like one of those reflex balls sometimes. Have you ever played with one of them?
No.
With the lots of knobs on it, about 6 knobs, and just bounces off everywhere. Ever played with that in the bathroom?
No. Just on that, Zach Thomas, great tackle on Carl Bradbury.
Here we go. Swings it in. He rose tall. Carl Thornton there. And now his brother knocks it over towards the sideline. Zadkovic will take a touch.
Be interested to see what Zadkovic does throughout the course of the game, because they play in 2 days' time. So I wonder if he'll pull some players off just to rest a few of their key players who have been playing virtually every minute this season.
Yeah, they've got 4 men out there tonight who have taken part in every match this year. Paul Bitts, Cody Carroll, Justin Broadley and Cale Bradbury. And of the four, Justin Broadley, he is a workaholic.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
got through a mountain of work. That's just NPL matches, not inclusive of their FFA Cup run, Broadmeadow.
And from memory, both Bradbury and Broadley have barely been substituted either throughout the course of the year, the games I've seen. So they've had a lot of minutes this year.
Wilter's got the boot out in front of Pratt. So all of a sudden that energy from scoring has just been totally sucked out of Maitland after conceding. Dino Fadcevic let it run on to Cale Bradbury.
The other thing Ruben Zakovic has to watch, they've got like a massive game on Tuesday night. Johnny Madrowski's 36-year-old. James Vigili looks like he's out on Tuesday night. I don't think his hamstring's going to recover in time. So I think also you need to look at Johnny Madrowski to make sure he, I don't know, probably I wouldn't overuse him tonight.
Such an important player, isn't he, Madrowski? And, well, probably is unlucky not to have opened the scoring already. Can't open the scoring, I should say, for Magic in the opening couple of minutes. Here's Sonata. Then Ryan Clark couldn't quite get a piece of it, and a miscommunication between Hoole and Broadley. Probably not two you'd expect to not be on the same page. They've basically been together in the side for most of the year. Almost afforded Maitland the opportunity to cause some more headaches. It's all just building up, isn't it? Towards a huge week of football in the Hunter as Sean Pratt just nibbled at by Justin Broadley.
Yeah, I love this time of year, Bart. Semi-finals, or even the games, the last few rounds leading into semi-finals.
But before the semi-finals, the FFA Cup, Smudge, on Tuesday night, aren't you excited? Bentley Greens coming to town against Broadmeadow Magic.
That's a great matchup. It's going to be very interesting. Charlestown did tremendous against Heidelberg a few weeks ago.
Yep. Edgeworth have beaten Bentley in the past in the NPL final, so don't think that Bentley are... Don't overestimate Bentley just because they beat Wellington. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Bentley
with
are very...
10 men too. With 10 men.
With 10 men, they're a very good side, but don't overestimate. They're still playing in the NPL, so should be a big night of action. Matt Thompson tries to go through the wall. Got some great players as well, both sides. Bentley and
great turn by
Broadmeadow. Bradbury on the swivel. Was enough to earn the ire of...
He does look sharp, doesn't he,
James
Bradbury?
Cleal. Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He's had another fine year as well.
Nice little step and run. Now that young man, Cody Carroll, he has had a fine year as well. I was most impressed with him in the FFA Cup against Canberra. He was close to one of Magic's best that night.
Just on Zach Thomas, he just fouled. He needs to be very careful. I'm pretty sure he's on cards, and I think he may be on... Mick Bowles told me one of their players is on 6 cards, so if they get suspended tonight...
Andrew Swan, he's on 6 yellows. So if he cops a yellow tonight, he's out for 2 weeks.
Misses the semi-final series.
Misses both.
Yep.
Now, these are the men on 4, so they face a 1-week ban. Grant Brown, Andrew Swan, Zach Thomas.
Yeah, I thought Zach Thomas was one of them.
So there's some defensive players for Maitland that have to just keep an eye out. The free kick from Hoole. Couldn't get it off the Cook Square Park turf. Reid got up and then Swan flew through the middle. Bit like a swan, actually. Thompson.
Very stop-start game, hasn't it been? Been quite a few fouls. Nothing major. But that's going to suit Maitland, actually, the stop-start game. Because if Broadmeadow get into a rhythm, they could cause a little bit of damage. But
Yeah, Magic have dominated the head-to-head between these two sides. They've actually just lost once to Maitland since 2000. There's a large chunk of that where Maitland and Magic weren't in the same competition. But still a strong record. That one defeat came last year in round 9, that 7-0 win to Maitland, which basically turned Magic's season around. It was incredible. Basically had the reverse effect, you'd think. Maitland's season fell apart from there and Magic's went to another level. There's Matt Hoole.
Wind just starting to pick up now, Bart. Just
Just
a little bit.
Just slightly. Straight across the ground here from our camera side.
Maitland back four extremely deep here.
And that's just to stop Carl Bradbury getting any space, isn't it?
Yep.
In behind.
I think it's purpose.
And here's Ryan Clark now. He has a chance to chip bits. Is it on target? No, it isn't. And it is just going to sit inside the line. That was pretty much straight into the wind. That chip from Ryan Clark. It was difficult. Great opportunity, though.
Great opportunity. I think if he had his time again, if someone told him he had time on the ball, to actually go around bits, and then he would have just had one other player, Magic player to defeat.
To defeat in a duel? No, I love that, Smudge. Magic played it. I like it. Sounds like a bit of a UFC battle, or.
Probably hear the wind in the mics at the moment.
And the dust is rolling across the ground. So if you're a player out there, don't look to the west, where you could cop an eye full of dust. So we tick towards half time. That match up at down in Newcastle in Hamilton. Hamilton leading 1-0. That one pretty much in stoppage time in the first half. Hamilton leading 1-0, and at the moment that means that Maitland, because of this result currently as it stands, heading towards the finals. But Fajkovic could try and change that. He's got a good record here. Scored 4 in 2015 in Magic's 5-1 win. That was actually when his brother Dennis was playing for Maitland.
Well, the wind's got hold of that.
That has flown. That's the strength of the breeze.
Well kept in by the veteran, Matt Thompson. 36 today.
Yep, on his birthday, get the cake. I wonder if he's had I wouldn't think he would have had any cake. Free kick here to the Magpies. So this free kick is pretty much straight into the westerly breeze.
Get it started, Bitsy.
So it'll be Matt Thompson to take. Gee, some interesting sounds there coming from Hamilton. So you see this Matt Thompson free kick.
And the interesting sound, Hamilton 2, Western Bears 0.
There we go. Oh. Hamilton a step closer. Gee, bulleted that. Appealing for handball. It's the only thing I think he was having a complaint to the referee about. We'll drop back for Brown. Slides it in between the lines. Here's a decent chance, and this is right on the edge of the box. The free kick goes the way of the home side. Now comes the yellow card.
You just said Hamilton. Hamilton scored just in injury time in the first half, and Hamilton 2, Western 0.
Scott Pettit scoring the first goal for Hamilton tonight. Scored last week against his former club. And in their 3-0 win, they've had a great finish to the year as well, Hamilton. Is it too little too late, though? So here it is. Free kick again for Thompson. And in the box, Grant Brown was at the back post. Thornton Rose as well. Now with Swan. Can he dink it back in again? Zach Thomas. was up there. Bradbury just thumped his boot through it and then Broadley got a touch. Alex Reid has got the pace. Now Matt Trott. Thornton tracks it down. Rolls it in between the lines. Thompson.
He does that well, Thompson. In between the lines. He knows how to pick the space out.
Carl Thornton holds off Cody Carroll and lost his footing. There was enough force to warrant a free kick.
Yeah, he was a bit lucky there, Carl Thornton, to get the free kick. And Reeves takes it quickly, trying to find Pratt.
And Sean Pratt does run it down, but didn't have anyone with him to loop it back in towards.
If he had his time again, I think he would have had a touch gone round young Callan on the left-hand side, and then he would have been one-on-one with Bits. Smart play. Nice early free kick, and again.
They've had some good chances in the second part of this first half, and Matt Thompson got up, and now a bit of push and shove. It was Matt Hoole that came in there.
Wake up, Thompson!
And had a swing while Thompson was on the ground. He got up, not impressed at all.
Yeah, Carl Bradbury needs to be careful. He's on cards as well for Magic.
And that's the last thing you want, a silly yellow card. Alex Reid. Just a little dink, and corner will be Maitland's.
Jack, get sorted! Backstep, Jaddy, Dino!
If you have just joined us a couple of minutes before half-time, Maitland, no changes to their side, who beat Lambton last weekend, and for Broadmeadow Magic, Luke Vigili, Shane Paul, both have been rested due to yellow card accumulation, not wanting a suspension for those two, and Josh Piddington, the skipper, given a rest tonight before their clash with Bentley on Tuesday. This one sits up. Another appeal for handball as Sean Pratt took a swing at that one. Outside of the boot from Hoole. And now Bradbury. Does he have the pace to get ahead of Alex Reid, who is a quick man himself? But Bradbury got there first. Darts across and sat it up for Majorowski, who wins a corner for Broadmeadow right before half-time. This is hugely important for Maitland, this little period here.
And that's what Maitland need to be very careful of. As we know, Broadmeadow have got pace up front. They can transition really quick, like they did there. And that was well played by... It was well defended by Maitland, but well played by Broadmeadow Magic. They look dangerous going forward, don't they, Broadmeadow?
They do, and they'd love to pinch one here. So Matt Hill just coming to get some advice, or maybe just a quick drink. Luke Callan chipping it in. Now towards Fajkovic, and Carl Thornton was going to ground and clears it up towards the sideline, and that will do us. For the opening 45 minutes here at Cook Square Park, it was Broadmeadow who started the stronger. Had the better of the chances, John Majorowski, with a really good chance in the opening 5 minutes. Matt Trott came to save the day for Maitland before the Magpies scored against the run of play via Ryan Clark, who just prodded it over the goal line to put them in front. They had a penalty. Sean Pratt put that one into the post after Luke Callan unfortunately gave it away. The ball bounced up into his arm in the box. And then it was Maitland with the better of the chances. Couldn't quite finish, but Carl Bradbury, he is looking ever so dangerous in the front third. Half-time at Cook Square Park. It's Maitland FC 1, Broadmeadow Magic 0. Damien Smith, your quick thoughts on that opening half?
Yeah, quick thoughts. I think Michael Bosch will be very happy at half-time. Actually, probably not as happy as going in 2-0, missing the penalty. But, you know, they started very cautious. Magic were on top in that first 25 minutes. It was really Maitland's very first chance, and it was a bit of a scramble in the box, which they got the goal. So they had an opportunity to go 2-0 ahead, but you know what? Magic still looked dangerous going forward, and I think Maitland need to be very careful. In attack, I like to see Maitland play with a bit more width. However, they are playing very cautious because they're not getting their right and their fullback forward. They're sort of marking Carl Bradbury and Dino Fadge, and you know, not allowing that space in behind. So, which is smart play by Maitland. But I think I'll be interested to see what Ruben does in the second half. They've got a big game against Bentley Green on Tuesday night. Depending on how the game goes, I wouldn't be surprised if he rests a few players as well, coming back into the end of the game, getting them ready for Tuesday night.
We'll find out whether he makes some changes at half-time. It's Maitland leading Broadmeadow Magic by a goal to nil. We'll be back in 10. Welcome back to Cook Square Park, the second half of this all-important round 22 clash in the NPL Northern New South Wales. Maitland FC at home to Broadmeadow Magic. Maitland needing a win to qualify for the finals, with Hamilton Olympic leading 2-0 against Western, that one at half-time. So Maitland are close. They're 45 minutes away. And we can't get underway yet because Michael Balch is on the field. Having a bit of a chuckle. He's fairly relaxed, you'd think, at the moment, but he'll want another goal. We're back underway. So Maitland, 45 minutes stands between them and a spot in the finals for the second time in the last 3 years. And Michael Balch, his sides have qualified for the finals for 4 years straight. And that with Hamilton previously and now Maitland in 2018, if he can get there.
And I think I agree with you. I think Maitland do need another goal just to be more comfortable, because I think Broadmeadow looked threatening going forward, and they did in the first half. And especially, like we mentioned before, Carl Bradbury, he's trying to get 2 goals here to equal Sam Walker from Lake Macquarie as leading goal scorer for the year. So
I feel like Magic have got a goal in them. They actually have conceded 4 straight now in the NPL. 3 last week against Hamilton, now 1 here tonight, which is the most they've conceded without scoring. So I feel that a goal is not too far away. They're the best attacking side in the comp, 44 goals in 19 matches coming into tonight. But this is the interesting stat that intrigues me. The final 15 minutes, Magic have scored 10 and conceded 2, which is the competition's best. Maitland have scored 9, conceded 3, which is
pretty good as well.
Second best. So could it come down to that final 15 minutes tonight?
So what about Edgeworth? They're normally the final 15-minute kings, aren't they?
Edgeworth are there, but not as good as they've been in previous years. I think it's about 8 and 4. So they have conceded a few in the final 15 this year.
Oh, and
Here's Swan. I thought he did raise the arm there. Bounced up into it, but no whistle from James Clale. Bit of a tangle between Matt Thompson and John Griffiths. So Luke Callan lobbing that one forward, so no changes at half-time for either side.
I think Maitland will play the same as what they did in the first half. It'll be very stop-start. They'll slow the play down. When the ball goes out, they'll take their time because, like I said, it's all about the end result tonight for Maitland. They need the 3 points, especially with Hamilton leading Western 2-0.
But you just wouldn't want the nerves of a final 5 minutes being up 1-0, wouldn't you? Would you? You just wouldn't want that. You desperately want a second.
Just on, there's been a change. Looks like Charlie Cox has come on for Broadmeadow and Justin Broadley is off, it looks like.
You're right. Charlie Cox is out there. Here's a backheel from Fajkovic towards Carl Bradbury.
So as we said, we thought Ruben might rest a few players for the game on Tuesday night. So Justin Broadley.
Yeah, John Majerowski's still out there with Carl Bradbury. See how long he lasts. So yeah, Broadley, I'm not surprised. He does so much work. And he's killed from Sean Pratt, and then gave David Ifield a decent shove. Here's Fajkovic. Looked over to see Carl Bradbury. Couldn't get past Grant Brown's left boot. Speaking of late goals, he doesn't mind a late goal. His last 2 in the NPL came last year, both of them late equalisers for Hamilton, who he was playing for last year. In the 85, in the last 10 minutes, I should say.
Oh, good touch.
Great touch from Matt Swan. On to Ryan Clark. Swerving, weaving. He's already scored 1 tonight. Took a little deflection, but not the power that...
Yeah, Sean Pratt probably should have stayed alert there. If he stayed alert, the ball sort of just bounced right near him. He sort of ran across Ryan Clark and sort of just didn't really look to see where Ryan Clark was, and the ball sort of bounced right near him. If he stayed alert, he could have pinched it.
Grant Brown. Up he goes and brings it down, and now he's in a tangle with Bradbury, the back heel. Thomas Chipping it forward, but there is no one in QE of that ball from Zach Thomas.
And they're setting up very deep again, Maitland. They're back four quite deep, allowing no space in behind for Dino Fajovic and Carl Bradbury.
Highfield. Now Griffiths and Cody Carroll. Back to John Griffiths. Really in the prime of his career. Griffiths, 27 years old. The captain tonight. Leading by example so far.
He's a Maitland boy too. He's got a lot of good mates up here.
Another one that got away. You're a Maitland boy as well, aren't you?
Maitland boy, yeah, yep, an old Maitland boy.
And Swan.
Morris Brothers boy.
There were actually rumours a few years ago that they tried to get you to coach here. Not going to comment. Because Chris Turner spent some time here, not long.
Yeah, got
a few games.
Chris Turner. I think he's listening tonight.
Swan.
He went to Lakes Old Boys Day, and he's been to every Old Boys Day. Is it Westmore's
Listening,
End?
I think, is a bit. I'm not. I would say he's probably just sitting there and it's entering his brain, but he's not processing it. I would say CT by this time of night.
Yeah, true. Well, he's been at Lakes Old Boys Day, so he went and seen the Lakes defeat Lambton early today. He goes to every Old Boys Day, even he's never played for the club.
It is Dink Dent looking for Thornton. Now Swan. Fajovic looking up. So he scored 2 goals in the FFA Cup in the round of 32, Dano Fajovic, in the time where he hasn't scored in the NPL. Hasn't scored in the NPL since round 15 last year in June 2017. So I just think he just turns up for the big FFA Cup games. Gets on the score sheet, gets his name in lights. He does love that stage.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised about that stat because he's a very dangerous player and he's a goal scorer as well. But
he has set up a lot of goals this year.
Yeah.
You know, I think you remember that match Broadmeadow played against Hamilton Olympic back in round 10. He set up a couple that evening. It's Majorowski, that afternoon I should say.
Oh,
Matt Trott.
just take a bubble just before Matt Trott collected the ball.
It's a bit like the Bermuda Triangle down that end of the ground. We saw that penalty go against Luke Callum where it just bounced up awkwardly. And then again there. So here's Takumi Sanada, former Japanese youth international, number 23 for Broadmeadow Magic. Hasn't been able to cement his spot in the starting 11, but it's always there and thereabouts. Here he is. Sanada. Zach Thomas come up and out of the defensive back four of Maitland. It's Griffiths.
Magic playing with a lot more width today than previous weeks.
And Luke Callan there, he was right against that sideline. Matt Thompson had to wait for it. Outside the boot, Clark with the attempted flick on. There wasn't too much in that. And it looks as though Sam Webb is getting ready to come on. He's a very exciting young player.
I would not be surprised if this was John Majorowski. Rest him up for the Tuesday night.
I'm going to put my bottom dollar on it, Smudge.
Okay.
Here's Reid. Header away from Dino Fajovic doing the defensive work. So Webb just getting the electrical tape around the shin pads, and then he'll be out there.
Grant Brown on yellows, sorry.
He is.
Yeah, very
He
lucky
is.
there. Just a bit of a tug on Bradbury's shirt. He was away too, Bradbury, so very, very lucky not to get a...
I just wonder, as a referee, would you know that information?
Most probably.
Would you want to know that information? I feel like
it's a tough
I
one.
feel like you wouldn't want to know that if a player's, a card away from missing a couple of weeks. It's just one of those things where I just think it would be better not to know. Just officiate as you have all season.
Yeah, well, that's true. Because then it's fair and it's... But Maitland playing very deep here. They're playing a little bit dangerous for me. Very deep, very open through the centre.
Charlie Cox.
Magic's quite comfortable at the moment.
Hasn't started a match this year, Charlie Cox did last year. And really, that's mainly down to the injuries that Broadmeadow had last year. That a lot early on in the season. Scored that stunning goal, didn't he, in that round 13 match against the Bears from distance. That was goal of the week from Charlie Cox. That was a ripper. Can he produce one similarly tonight? It's Cody Carroll. On to Callan, who almost has dropped that one inside the back post. In just his second match in the top grade, he almost made Matt Trott, almost made him look silly there. So here it is, John Majerowski. He leaves the park and he will rest up for Tuesday's match against Bentley Greens. Gets the jacket on straight away. He's got a big few days ahead of him of recovery for that match.
What's the weather forecast for Tuesday, Bart? You're doing the commentary?
I'll tell you in just a second when I do my research. As far as I understand, it's meant to be dry for the rest of winter. It's 19 degrees, top of low of 6, top of 19 degrees. Sunny conditions. Couldn't ask for much more, I'd say. An FFA Cup match in Newcastle. Here's Ifield. Griffiths. And now Carroll. Not much doing in this second half. Sort of about this time where we ask CT for a joke. Cody Carroll. Now to Luke Callan. He's sending Swan this way, and that, who bumped him off the ball. Does he use Grant Brown? That got a lot of curl on that. Alex Reid. And Clark couldn't win the header in front of John Griffiths. Here's Sonata. Just jumping up out of the back line to play in Charlie Cox.
A lot of turnover at the moment, isn't it, for both sides?
He couldn't quite pick the pass, could he? Sean Pratt basically fended off Cody Carroll. Ifield. Now John Griffiths, he had to get rid of it quickly because Sean Pratt was bearing down on him. Had that opportunity to make it 2-0 to Sean Pratt, hit his penalty into the post. Will that come back to bite Maitland? Will they rue that moment? Ifield. Still, it's the goal from Ryan Clark which separates the two sides. His second goal in the last 3 meetings between these two sides.
I like the way Charlie Cox and Cody Carroll are rotating around in the midfield, creating space for themselves.
Last 4 meetings, I should say. Second in the last 4. Scored last year against Magic in that win at Magic Park. Carroll steps away from Swan. And just launches the ball straight onto the boot of Callan. Griffiths with a decent ball. Matt Hoole against the touchline, couldn't quite keep it under his control. Ifield. Smudge, tell me this, right? We saw in the World Cup, Japan had that Mexican standoff with Poland.
Yes.
Where both sides knew, the case.
Result, yep.
Japan,
Yep.
they were down 1-0, but they knew they were going through,
Yep.
so they didn't want to concede again,
Yep.
obviously, because goal difference would have knocked them out.
Yep.
Will that happen tonight?
No.
Last 10 minutes?
No, I don't think so. I think Magic will play to win.
What about in stoppage time? What about in stoppage time? 3 minutes to go. Magic already locked up second place. Maitland just need the win. Well, what happens? Is it a Mexican standoff?
Yeah, I think Magic will play to win, obviously, but obviously they've got some younger boys out there, and they want to prove themselves to Ruben Zakovic as well. And like Charlie Cox has come on now. We've got David Eifeld out there. Luke Callan had the unfortunate for the penalty, but Sean Pratt missed the penalty. That was just an unfortunate bounce onto his hand. But
apart from
they've
that,
done
I think
quite well.
he's been very good.
Yeah, doing very well. They've held possession quite well, Broadmeadow. I think Ruben will be quite pleased.
Good for the depth of the squad. Definitely.
And as a coach, it's semi-final season. It doesn't matter who you play. It's always going to be a tough game, home and away series. Do they prefer Lambton? Do they prefer Maitland? And looking at today's game, Magic's done quite well, considering they've got five starting players out of their side, and they've done very well against Maitland. And they've looked quite comfortable.
So less than half an hour to travel now in the regular season in the NPL Northern New South Wales for both of these two sides. Magic are heading to the finals. Maitland, as it stands, are, but there's still a little bit of work to do for them.
Good touch by Ryan Clark.
Swan to Clark. Takes on Callan down the line. And cuts him to ground, just in front of the corner. And now Luke Callan goes to ground. And the Maitland fans in the corner giving him a little bit as he goes into the book for the yellow card. He won't have any issues with the yellow card.
Yeah, that was the yellow card. Obviously, Ryan Clark retaliating, throwing the ball at Callan. It's pretty sharp, young Luke Callan. He kept up with Ryan Clark, who's obviously he's got some pace behind him.
So Matt Thompson again from the dead ball.
Careful, Edge. Take the ball. In front, Taku. In front.
Liam Thornton, we've seen him score a few goals this year. 2 goals with his head. And he's tall, just waiting at the back post. Here he is, Thompson! And it is Liam Thornton. Scores his 3rd of the year and probably his most important. 2-0 Maitland. And is that the goal which sends them through to the finals?
I must say that ball by Matt Thompson was superb, wasn't it? Just whipped in, a little bit of curl, straight on the Liam Thornton, and he finished it really well.
Can I preface that by saying that's the first time I've ever predicted something like that so much? Oh, there we go. Liam Thornton.
And that's when they probably...
Thank you, Liam. Wow.
Yeah, and that's probably been their first real opportunity in the second half as well, Maitland. So
normally I put the mocker on people, so I'm surprised he finished that one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ruben Zakovic now, they're 2-0 down, they just keep the ball, knock it around, no injuries, not be too strenuous about their play. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes another substitution, get one of his main players off, keeping him for Tuesday night. I've never seen Michael Bowles jump so much. When the ball went in,
So 3 goals for Liam Thornton this year. All have been headers.
yes.
Late Macquarie in round 9. Hamilton the week before was the opening goal in that one. And then here at Cook Square Park, a man who's played in every match this season, Liam Thornton. And his brother Carl can't find the back of the net this year. There's probably more has probably been known for his goal scoring more so than Liam.
Yeah, but Carl Thornton brings other aspects to the Maitland football side, and he's just a superb player. Either if he's playing at the back or just in that number 6 screen in front of the back 4, he's a quality player. Has been for many years. I don't think goal scoring is one of his prowess or one of his talents.
He has scored some good goals.
He has.
I remember a goal he scored against Edgeworth for Western a few years. Well, he scored a couple a few years back.
The other thing about Liam Thornton, every year he scores a few goals from set pieces, from
Just
corners.
grabs a few, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's all you need from your defenders. So he's magic. Like we said, they're just going to knock the ball around. Nothing too strenuous.
Looks as though the third change for Magic is about to take place. And Cal Bradbury's had some opportunities, some half opportunities, not a clear-cut goal-scoring perfect chance. We'll see if that can change now with Maitland now up by 2 goals. Is there a chance they could just nod off at the back?
Maitland?
Michael Bulcher's basically in front of where Maitland are going to be lining up defensively. Is he just going to be barking out,
Agree.
stay awake, stay awake?
And they won't go forward. If you look at their back 4 now, actually Liam Thornton's starting to go forward a little bit, starting to overlap on the left-hand side.
Here he is, Ryan Clark, threading it through, and Sean Prato was after it. It's big for Maitland if they make the finals. Huge. Western struggling lately. They really have taken the mantle as the premier Coalfields club of late. I'm saying history, of course. Historically, Western, they're the premier side, and you can't take that away. But over the last few years, it's been Maitland who have been the top side from the Coalfields. You can't argue with that.
Oh, no, not at all.
But they've got a long way to catch up to Western. They're a storied club, the Bears. There's Callan. Sam Webb trying to just deceive Grant Brown there. Highfield. Oh, this didn't look good for Luke Callan there as he won't be good for them because he'll be playing in the finals for the 20s. I hope everything's all right. Maybe just a little tight. Is it a calf? Is it a hamstring? We'll come back to it.
I think it's a cramp from Michael Bulch.
Michael Bulch has come to the rescue. Well, there you go.
He would do anything to get a win today.
He's on all sorts as well, Luke Callan.
Yeah, he's struggling, isn't he? They need to stretch him out.
Really struggling.
It's going to be a forced change, I think, for Magic. Michael Bulch would do anything to get a result today.
Even stretch out the hamstring of an opposition player.
Yeah. Looks like his calf's cramping up quite badly, actually. He's sort of struggling.
Here's Highfield. Yeah, probably not the change that Ruben Zadkovich would have wanted to make either.
No, I thought he'd probably try and rest maybe a John Griffiths or even a Matt Hurl, one of the players who have probably played majority of the season. So he's going to take Carl Bradbury off. I think partly because he's on yellow cards.
So here we go. So Luke Callan is still being stretched out. I assume Ruben Zadkovich is saying he's happy to play with 10 men. And Jonty Bush heads out there. And Luke Callan is still being stretched out. Zadkovich wants him out there. I actually...
This is like the Benny Hill show.
I actually, to be honest... I agree with the decision he's made, to be honest. He really needs to rest Carl Bradbury. So
Bradbury's on cards, so he could have an unfortunate tackle or an accidental bump, and he's on cards. Even though he's going for leading goals, so he still needs to score 3 goals, which is going to be tough in the last, 15 or so minutes, 20 or so minutes, especially now Vzakovic has taken two of their main players off him broadly, and Majorowski as well. So, and it looks like Magic's just holding the ball at the back here, just keeping possession.
That's the thing, they're in second place on the ladder. They can't drop out of that. They can't move any higher up the ladder. So I feel like the first priority is to make sure that Cale is right for Tuesday. He's not going to be suspended for the finals, and
that's right.
Move forward.
And the other thing is, you've got 20 games to get points. It's not just this last game is all about the points. So you've got 20 games to get points. So Magic's got himself in a situation where they come in second, can't drop out of second place. So it's up to them what they want to do. And I agree with Ruben. I'll do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, Luke Callan, he started for the under-20 side.
So no wonder he's cramping.
Yes, he's had a very big day. The only player that I can think of having I'm pretty sure he didn't play the full match, Luke Callan. I think he would have come off early, obviously, to prepare him for this first grade match. And Magic were down 2-0 in that one. Louis Townsend actually played pretty much 2 full matches, 90 minutes in the 20s, and then there was an injury early on in the first grade match. He came on and played about 87, 88 minutes in first grade. So glutton for punishment, these youngsters. So Ifield, him one of them, 19 years old, also played the 20s match.
He's been solid again tonight, Ifield.
Do you feel like he's, a John Griffiths in 5-6 years, someone that will be looked upon like John Griffiths, David Ifield?
Yeah, definitely.
A legend, a stalwart of the club.
But I wouldn't, yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you don't want to put too much pressure on the youngster, but at 19 years old, you're playing first grade.
Mm. In a very good side too, so still 2-0 at Hamilton. Hamilton versus Western. Obviously, news would have come through that it's 2-0 here, so...
Hamilton, you'd sense, would be fairly flattened by that second goal by Liam Thornton going in. And as it stands currently, the finals next week, we'll see Edgeworth play Lambton. Oh,
massive
gee
game.
Whiz, that is a huge semi-final. And Broadmeadow play Maitland.
Ooh. To me, I still believe Lambton are probably arguably the best squad in the comp.
I agree.
And depending on who Pascoe puts out, they are going to be a very tough outfit.
So you're writing off Edgeworth then?
I'm not writing. No way. I'd never write off Edgeworth. They are a quality side, quality coached, and you know what? They just know how to get the job done, and they get the job done well. And look, they're 8 points ahead. They're gonna win the comp by 11 points if they win tomorrow. That's massive. And you know what? They probably haven't got in the last 4 years. They probably haven't got the strongest squad. Well, they've probably got this year's probably their weakest squad over the past 4 years. However, they've won the comp by 11 points.
Yep, exactly. Here we are in standoff phase here, Smudge. So Maitland are happy with the 2-0 advantage. Magic just controlling possession.
Yep.
So Maitland really don't want to win the ball. So we could basically chat for the next 10 minutes about all kinds of different things.
So going back to Lambton, Edgeworth next week, if the scores remain, I think Lambton's a very dangerous side. And like I said, depending who Pascoe puts on that park will depend how they go.
You literally cannot pick who's going to win either of the semis. You literally can't. You just go, well, let's just let them get out there and play. Like, there's no clear favourite.
Talking to some of the boys who, I'll come back to it in a second.
There's a chance for Broadmeadow. If they can get one back, it may just send the jitters through Maitland.
Oh, I think it definitely would. But like I said, they're just holding possession at the moment. They've taken 2 of their strikers off.
And they've got Dino Fadjevic up there. Charlie Cox as well. Fadjevic just dropping a little deeper.
You're just going back, just talking to some of the Broadmeadow players who are actually sitting out tonight due to yellow cards. Obviously, they realise if Maitland win today, they go into the 3rd spot and they'll play Maitland in the semi-finals. And I actually asked them, who would you prefer to play, Lambton or Maitland? And it was sort of 50-50 split. Some said Lambton, some said Maitland. Part of the reason they said they prefer not to play Maitland is because they have to come up here in this tough ground to play, and it's a very physical game. With them and Lambton are very similar setups, similar sides.
Michael Bolch, he suffered heartbreak against Magic in the past in finals matches. Most notably a couple of years ago in one of the most pulsating semi-final clashes you'll ever witness.
At Hamilton.
At Hamilton, yeah. It was a huge night. So,
oh,
this one played back to Matt Trotter, just thumps it up the ground onto the head of Sonata. So tomorrow, Edgeworth have their celebration with the trophy against Valentine Phoenix. They actually have that away from home. Now,
massive crowd out there tomorrow, I can see.
At Valentine, Edgeworth will take plenty of numbers, I'd say.
We've seen the crowd when Valentine won the other week. That was massive.
They've had some decent numbers out there at CB Complex this year, Valentine, with their youngsters.
Poor Luke Cullen, he's really struggling with cramps.
It has been a warmish afternoon. So Ryan Clark down towards the corner flag. So, big week. Tuesday night, don't miss it. Broadmeadow Magic up against Bentley Greens. 7:30 at Magic Park. If you can't get to the ground, watch it online, foxsports.com.au. I don't even know if I'm allowed to advertise Fox Sports on here, but anyway, I'm doing it. Thursday night, we'll be back for the show at 6:30, and then next Saturday and Sunday, I can't wait. Semi-finals.
So which game's which next week, Bart?
I would presume Broadmeadow will get the Sunday clash because of the fact that they played Tuesday against Bentley. I would assume that would be the case.
Yeah, that's right.
Swan charging forward towards the sideline. So you'd say Edgeworth Lambton, that'll be at Arthur Eden on Saturday. And Lambton usually play their matches at home on a Saturday, and then Magic Maitland on Sunday here at Maitland. And the WPL Grand Final on next Sunday as well. So,
so you're going to miss the game next Sunday?
I will. I'm doing that WPL Grand Final at Western and UNCT. You'll be able to make the trip, maybe here to Maitland actually, depending on how it all pans out. So
I'll get Cedar to pick me up on the way.
Have a few cans on the way. Maybe not. Maybe that's not a good idea, Smudge.
No.
So David Ifield. So for those who've just joined us, round 22 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. Magic in second. They can't move from that position on the ladder. And Maitland, with this scoreline, are into third with the 2-0 result. And Hamilton will miss out on the finals. And the cut-off for the finals will be 34 points. Last year, I think it was about 37, so very, very high. As we see Maitland make their change. Michael Bolch fairly comfortable now with Ryan Clark leaving the park. Justin McAuliffe, mid-season recruit.
He's been quite handy for Maitland this year, what I've seen.
He has.
Justin McAuliffe, yeah. He scored a goal.
Scored via the Jets.
That's right.
Round 17. He's actually a grand final winner with Broadmeadow Magic back in 2015. That was in that grand final win against Edgeworth Eagles, 4-1. So Magic, he went over to Spain. He's played for Valentine last year.
Okay. Just on Ryan Clark, he's another very good game. Very dangerous player. Good to see him in full flight and scored a goal today. So obviously Michael Bolch is feeling a bit probably comfortable. They're going to get through now with about 10 or so to go. So
Matt Thompson on his birthday to Sean Pratt just dishes it back to Thornton. Liam Thornton, who scored the second goal. Ryan Clark prodded the first one in the first half, and then Liam Thornton with the header from the corner kick from Matt Thompson.
Just on the semi-final series, Bart. So the second semi-final, is that going to be a 2-day games on a Saturday?
I'm unsure how it's going to be structured this year, because I do know that that will probably be up to Liam Bentley.
The other thing is the Jets play at Maitland Sports Ground next Saturday?
Next Saturday they do. They do, and
So Maitland will definitely play here on the Sunday. There's no way they'll clash with the Jets and Central Coast.
Yep,
in
and
Maitland.
that Lambton Edgeworth game will be Saturday, which is interesting because Joel Griffiths, of course, Jets operations manager. Will he play? Will he play for Lambton? He's been a bit injury prone of late. I would assume maybe he won't. And Pat Brown, he can't play on a Saturday. Fascinating storylines to come.
They've got plenty of players now with Remington back, Joe Wheelhouse back, obviously Joel Griffiths back. Talking to Chris Turner today, who went to Old Boys Day, his second Old Boys in a week. Loves the Old Boys Day, CT, just like I said before, he just turns up even if he's never played for the club. But he said Joe Wheelhouse started today, Remington started today.
So just gearing themselves up, maybe just getting themselves ready for the finals to come.
He did say Ridge Marpil went down quite injured and got carried off in the second half. So, but they've got a bundle too. Here we go.
Here's the opportunity for Callan. He's bundled over. And James Cleal puts the whistle away. Well, I thought he had a decent shout there for a penalty.
Yeah, true. And
Anthony Richards thinks so. He's turned around to us. And what did he say, Smudge? I didn't hear.
I can't understand him half the time. But that was Zach Thomas on Luke Callan. So
I thought Luke Callan was unlucky not to win the penalty there.
He's had an unlucky night, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah. He's had a penalty that...
And he's played quite well.
He's had a penalty he's given away, which he'd never give away in 100 years. You know, bounces up into his arm unluckily and then gets bundled over in the box. James Cleal obviously saw nothing. Would have been a big call.
Yeah, and I think Zach Thomas was the culprit too. We haven't got replays here, but would have been quite interesting because Zach Thomas would have got a yellow, meaning he'd be out for next week, but it didn't happen, so play on.
So everything going to plan for Maitland at the moment. Sam Webb. That one will be taken by the breeze down to the corner. And here is Swan, ridden to ground. And out comes the card.
He's had a decent game, James Cleal. He hasn't had too many controversial decisions to make.
No, he hasn't, apart from that penalty, I'd say. Probably as controversial as it gets.
The one not awarded.
The one not awarded. Yep.
To be honest, we can't really see from here, so he's probably made the right call. But
I think it's one of those 50-50. It wasn't a stonewall penalty, but
yeah,
it was on the scale. So Matt Trott, a clean sheet would take him to 8 for the season. He's had a great year between the posts.
That would be close to goalkeeper of the year, would it?
Yeah, Paul Bitts has got 9.
Oh, okay.
So Paul Bitts should have it based on that. Interestingly, Edgeworth have actually kept 8 clean sheets. So if they keep one tomorrow, which, based on Valentine's record, you would probably think they will, but as soon as I say that, Valentine will score. You would think Edgeworth would go to 9 clean sheets, but remember, Josh Lowe has only got 8 of those.
He's been a revelation this year, Josh Lowe.
Josh Lowe with 8 and Nate Cavalieri with 1 of those. So he's actually playing down at Kingston. Interesting information, actually. Brodie Taylor, the former Edgeworth midfielder, he actually plays for Bentley at the moment. I was actually talking to Luke and James Virgili. We're discussing whether he'd be playing, but we're pretty sure he's cup-tied. He played for Melbourne Knights earlier in the season, made the switch to Bentley. So that would have been exciting to see Brodie back up here playing
Keanu Moore plays for Bentley, doesn't he?
Kingston City now.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, sorry.
Was at Bentley last year.
That's right.
Aiden Bryce at Melbourne and Nate Cavalieri with Keanu Moore at Kingston, so sprinkled around everywhere.
Magic just knocking the ball around here, just nice and comfortable. Not really going forward.
Should we get CT on the phone for a joke?
He sent me one through earlier today, so but I read it and it was terrible. I'm embarrassed to say it.
Well, don't then.
Yeah, I know.
Keep it in the pocket. So they may have had disappointment in the rugby league this afternoon, Maitland, but it's not going to be the case.
So the actual joke was
Sam Webb. There's Luke Cullen just charging through the middle there. So Magic with a corner. And maybe, just maybe, there could be a late glimmer of hope. So Tom Duggan about to come on for Michael Bulcher's men.
It's a good little player, Tom Duggan. I've seen him a few times this year. He's quite elusive.
Probably the only thing he hasn't got, Tom Duggan, is a goal in the top grade. He should have had one against Hamilton a few weeks ago.
Now, I'll just go quickly back to my very poor joke from CT today. He said, what do you call a thief from Toronto?
What do you call a thief from Toronto so much? I just hope this doesn't get us in trouble.
A wobber.
I like the local angle. I like the local angle. It's probably one of his better ones because it's got a local angle to it. So Sam Webb. Falls, and the attempted volley from Fadjovic goes awry. Just let's talk about that as Tom Duggan goes on the park. Toronto Wobber, obviously in the new FM League, they didn't have a great year this year, finishing with the wooden spoon. Did CT go to their old boys' day?
I'm unsure, but I know he's been popping up at most clubs' old boys' day because there's probably free cans on the hill.
I think I saw him at Maitland Sports Ground earlier as Sean Pratt takes his leave.
Well, he's been at Maitland as well. I'm surprised he's not here, but in saying that, he was at Lakes Old Boys today. So,
and Louis Townsend is looking like he might come on. See what he's chatty, Louis Townsend. Before the game, he was getting all the scores, rattling off the night score and trying to find out what the
Swans,
AFL score is. What's the score at the Swans? For the record, the Swans won that 80-60.
So still 2-0 at Hamilton over Western Bears. It's in injury time.
So this one with about 5 to go. Just basically ticking down the minutes, if you can tell that. It was a good start from Magic. That's some great early chances via John Majorowski, but after Maitland scored against the run of play, they found it very difficult. Maitland with a better of the chances. Sean Pratt hit the post with a penalty, and then Liam Thornton with the header.
I think Ruben Zakovic would be quite pleased with his young troops out here today.
They've been good, haven't they? They've been solid.
They've been good. They've created a few chances. They've probably created more chances than Maitland. Defensively, they've been fine only on set pieces. They struggled a little bit, but in saying that, they haven't got their captain Josh Pennington. They haven't got Luke Virgili at the back as well, so they've got a bit of a makeshift backline at the moment, but they've been rock solid and quite comfortable. And it's finished 2-0 at Hamilton, Bart. So Hamilton...
And in the post-mortem of their season, which will obviously begin as Louis Townsend heads out there for Swan, two workhorses exchanging positions, but in the post-mortem of Hamilton's season, the spotlight and the magnifying glass will all be pointed towards those first 6 games.
Agree. They won in the first 6. It took them a while to get into... And you know what? A lot of them losses, and we were at those games, Bart, were just, I don't know, silly mistakes. He's got a young squad. And like McGuinness said to me just a few weeks ago, he said, you know, the squad he's got's only 18 games old. They're going to be better next year. I think he's re-signed all the players again for next year. So
except Jared Sutherland, apparently. We've heard.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. But, yeah, so, you know, they're going to be better next year. And, you know, we watched them play against Magic. Well, you went there, Magic, last week, and they were very, very good. And, you know, they believe in what McGuinness is doing out there. And, you know, they've had a great season in the end. And they were just unfortunate. They're going to be just 1 point short of a semi-final spot.
And they have played some good stuff when they've been at their peak, Hamilton as well. So,
and probably one of their best wins of the year besides Magic last week at Magic was probably the FFA Cup against Edgeworth at the Lake Macquarie facility. They were absolutely brilliant that day. And Jacob Bailey pops up with the winner right towards the air.
Yep.
So it's in injury time now, Bart.
A good season, yep, just ticking over in injury time. A good season, but for a club like Hamilton, they want to be making the finals. That's the ultimate goal. They're a big side, and they want to be making the finals, and when they don't, it goes down as a disappointing season, as close as they may have come.
I wonder how Michael Balch feels, because obviously he was at Hamilton last year. They moved him on, he's come to Maitland, and now
he's taken them into the finals.
Yeah, that's right. So he must be deep down feeling quite satisfied.
He's just brought structure, hasn't he, to Maitland?
Well, he's a seasoned coach, and he's got a few experienced players here. He's brought some young boys coming through. And I tell you what, the young boys have played quite well over the past few weeks, while some of their main core players have been out injured. So he's got a lot to work with. And look at their 20s. Their 20s won the minor premiership. So massive congratulations.
This one down towards the byline and over that hasn't crossed the touchline. And for Broadmeadow, couple of finals appearances. Ruben Zadkovic in his second year coaching. Another finals appearance for them, and he'll be wanting them to go a step further than they did last year.
Yeah. I think they're going to be a real threat, Broadmeadow. Sorry, mate.
So full time, Maitland through to the finals for a second time in the last 3 seasons. And Broadmeadow Magic finished the season with a couple of defeats, but I'll be turning their focus now to that clash with Bentley Greens on Tuesday night. So Michael Balch, his side makes the finals for a 4th consecutive season. Great record for the Magic, the Maitland mentor, I should say. So it was a tight game. Maitland with a goal in the first half through Ryan Clark, and Liam Thornton with the ultimate sealer, the second goal in the second half. It finished full time. Maitland FC 2, Broadmeadow Magic 0. As we said, Maitland through to the finals. A really, really good win for them tonight with the pressure on. And for Broadmeadow, they're through to the finals again. They turn their focus to Bentley. But they, as we were just talking, Smudge, we were sort of drifting off before the end of the match having a chat, they'll be wanting to go one better. They were so close to the finals last year where they almost knocked out Edgeworth by the skin of their teeth. Edgeworth got through that one. They'll be looking to make it to the big dance this year, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to have all their players back next week against Maitland. It's going to be here. It's going to be a very tough game. I think they'll be... Ruben, after watching today's game, they had some young boys in there, and they were quite comfortable throughout the course of the game. But you know what? Maitland did enough today. They knew they just had to get the result, the 3 points. They did that. They're in the top 4. Congratulations to Michael Bolt, the Maitland FC Football Club, and also to their 20s who won the minor premiership tonight against Broadmeadow Magic. But I think Ruben will take confidence out of tonight with some of these young boys. They've did well. He would have a really good look at Maitland, how they set up, and they'll come in with a different plan of attack next week.
So next weekend, Smudge, Lambton and Edgeworth at Arthur Eden Oval. We're going to say probably it's going to be Saturday, 2:30 at Arthur Eden, and then Sunday, Maitland and Broadmeadow Magic back here at Cook Square Park. Wow, big semi-final series approaching. You literally can't pick it, can you?
Yeah, you love it. And you know what? It's so the top 4 sides, the top 5 sides is very tight. Anyone can beat anyone on a given day. Normally, as you say, cream rises to the top over a 2-course leg, but I don't know. I'm unsure. It's going to be very tight.
It'll be a cracker. And McDonald Jones Stadium, of course, for the grand final. I know some people agree, some people disagree whether we should be having it there. I'm just going to leave it. You can have your own opinion.
You know what? Talking to the players last year, Lambton as well as Edgeworth, they loved it. They thought the atmosphere, probably not the atmosphere because obviously it's a large stadium, but playing on that service where all the full-time professionals play. We were there the night before when they were training. They were buzzing around, and if you talk to the players, they absolutely loved it, and as well as the coaches and support staff.
All right, well, that will wrap it all up, Smudge. Just quickly, let's just talk about the Magic game against Bentley. Just one question. they're a real chance, aren't they, against Bentley? We know they're a great side, the Greens, second in the Victorian NPL, but Magic will give themselves a red-hot chance.
Oh, I agree. And you know what? They're going to be full strength, but unsure about James Virgilio, who will be a loss, but they're going to be full.
He's pretty much out, isn't he?
Yeah, I was talking to him before the game, and you're there too, Bart. His hamstring's a bit tight. He trained last night, just wasn't right. So he'll probably miss the game, but which is a big loss for Magic.
Do you put him on the bench?
No. If you've got a bit of an injury issue, you know what? You start the game. I'd prefer you start the game, and then if you do get injured, well, you make the substitution. But if you come on with 30 minutes to go, then you do your hamstring, then you have to make another substitution. So if you're going to risk plays, you start them. That's my personal opinion. But I think it's a great matchup. Charlestown did very well against Heidelberg, who are the premiers down in Victoria, and they had quite a few starters out, and they took them all the way till the end. I think Magic's going to get a result out of Bentley Green. I'm going to be there, and I'll be cheering them on, obviously. But very interesting.
Yep, well, I hope they do well. I hope they really do well and do the region proud. All right, well, that wraps it up. Tuesday night, Magic against Bentley, 7:30 at Magic Park, or you can catch it on the Fox Sports on the Fox Sports website. Thursday, we'll be back at 6:30 with the show, and then next Sunday, the two semi-finals and the Women's Premier League Grand Final next Sunday. Cracking weekend. Cracking week ahead, probably the most exciting thus far. So full-time, Maitland, they make it to the finals. 2 out of the last 3 years, they've made it through to the playoffs. They win 2-0 over Broadmeadow Magic tonight. We'll catch you next week.